There comes a moment in every life when you wake up and realize something deep inside you is missing. The world keeps spinning around you. People are still chasing their dreams, moving forward, achieving, laughing, crying, experiencing everything that life has to offer, and you feel nothing, numb. It's not that you don't feel anything at all. It's just that the emotions feel distant, muted, like you're watching life unfold from the outside. You go through the motions. You work, you interact, you exist, but you don't live. You tell yourself you're fine. You push through the days because that's what you've always done. You've gotten good at it. You've learned to numb yourself to the point where the dullness feels like the only reality you know. But deep inside, you know that something is wrong. You know that the joy you once had is long gone, and the fire that used to light you up has been extinguished. You've lost that spark, that excitement, that reason to get up in the morning. You've lived for so long without purpose, without direction, without meaning, that you've forgotten what it feels like to be truly alive. So why does this happen? Why do you feel so disconnected from the world around you? Why do you feel numb toward life itself? It's because you've lived too long without purpose. When you live without purpose, your soul goes to sleep. It becomes quiet, dormant, like a seed that never gets the light or water it needs to grow. You may be physically alive, your heart may still beat, but your spirit is no longer present. Purpose is the fuel for the soul, the reason for being, the force that drives you forward. And when that purpose is missing, everything else loses its meaning. You don't just wake up one day feeling numb. It happens gradually. You get caught in a routine, a series of actions without meaning, moving through life like a shadow of the person you could be, and in the process you lose touch with who you are. But the good news is this: it's not too late to wake up. It's not too late to find that purpose again. But first you must understand why you've fallen into this numbness. There are 6 key reasons, 6 signs that your life has drifted off course, and understanding them is the first step in your journey back to feeling fully alive. 1. You've conformed to the expectations of others. When was the last time you asked yourself, what do I truly want? Not what your family expects, not what your friends think you should do, not what society tells you is the right path. What do you truly want? For so many of us, life becomes a series of attempts to meet the expectations of others. You go to school because that's what's expected. You get the job because that's what's expected. You get married, buy a house, have kids because that's what's expected. Somewhere along the way, you forget that the script you're following was never yours to begin with. And in trying to meet the expectations of others, you silence your own voice. You stop listening to your own desires, your own dreams, your own truth. And as you do, you begin to feel disconnected from yourself, from your own life. You live for others, not for you. And when you live for others, there's no room for your own purpose to emerge. You cannot live a life of purpose if you are constantly trying to meet the expectations of others. Purpose can only come from within. It must be rooted in what you truly want, in what you are passionate about, in what makes your soul come alive. Until you release the weight of others' expectations, you will never feel fully awake to your own potential. 2, you've lost touch with your true self. At some point, you stopped being who you were meant to be. You began to wear masks. You played roles. You adopted identities that weren't yours, just to get through the day, just to fit in. You built walls around your true self to protect yourself from judgment, from failure, from vulnerability. But those walls, over time, turned into prisons. You locked yourself inside a version of yourself that was never meant to be permanent. And now you can't remember who you are without the mask. When you lose touch with your true self, everything becomes a performance. You act the part. You follow the script. You play the game. But none of it feels real. Purpose comes from living authentically. It comes from being true to who you really are, not who the world wants you to be, not who you think you should be, but who you are at your core. And to reconnect with your true self, you must first allow yourself to let go of the mask. You must give yourself permission to be vulnerable, to embrace your imperfections, and to stop hiding. You can't find your purpose until you first find yourself. San, you're constantly seeking external validation. How much of your life have you spent seeking validation from others? How much of your energy has been spent trying to earn the approval of people who will never truly understand you? You've been told that success, happiness, and purpose are tied to what others think of you. You've been taught that in order to feel worthy, you need to impress others. But the truth is, validation from others is fleeting. It's a temporary fix, a hollow feeling that fades the moment the applause dies down. When your sense of self-worth is based on others' approval, your purpose becomes warped. You stop living for your own dreams and start living for the approval of others. And when you live for the validation of others, you disconnect from the very essence of who you are. You lose touch with what you want, what you need, and what truly makes you feel fulfilled. The search for external validation keeps you trapped in a cycle of emptiness. Your worth is not something that can be measured by the opinions of others. It is inherent. It is something you must cultivate within yourself. Only when you stop seeking validation from others will you begin to uncover your true purpose. 4. You've settled for comfort and familiarity. Comfort. It's seductive, isn't it? The familiar, the safe, the predictable. It lulls you into a false sense of security, convincing you that this is all there is. So you stay. You stay in relationships that no longer serve you. You stay in jobs that drain you. You stay in habits that keep you small, because the alternative, the unknown, feels terrifying. But here's the thing. Comfort is the killer of purpose. Purpose demands that you step into discomfort. It demands that you take risks, that you break free from the familiar, that you stretch yourself beyond your current limits. And every time you choose comfort over growth, you lose a piece of yourself. You become numb to the possibilities that life offers. Purpose is not found in the easy, predictable path. It's found in the uncertain, the unknown, the leap into the dark. If you want to feel alive again, you must leave comfort behind. You must push through the fear, the self-doubt, and the uncertainty. And when you do, you will find that the discomfort was never something to fear. It was the gateway to everything you've been searching for. 5. You're living without a vision. You wake up every day and do what you have to do. You go through the motions. You check the boxes. But somewhere along the way, you've lost sight of the bigger picture. You've forgotten the vision for your life, the dream that once inspired you to push forward, to take risks, to live with purpose. Without a vision, life becomes a series of disconnected actions, meaningless routines. You lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. You lose the passion that once drove you, the clarity that once guided you. A life without vision is a life without direction. You may be moving, but you're not heading anywhere that excites you. And when you have no vision for your future, you become numb to the possibilities that lie ahead. But when you reconnect with your vision, when you remember why you're here and what you're meant to create, everything changes. The fog lifts, the path becomes clear. Your actions become fueled by a sense of purpose, and your energy becomes contagious. A vision for your life gives you direction. It gives you motivation. It gives you a reason to wake up every morning with excitement in your heart and fire in your belly. And when you live with that kind of clarity, you will feel alive again. 6, you've lost your sense of meaning. Perhaps the most profound reason you feel numb is that you've lost your sense of meaning. You no longer know what it's all for. You've disconnected from the core of who you are, from your values, from your beliefs. You've stopped asking yourself the big questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What legacy do I want to leave? Meaning is what gives life depth. It is the thread that ties your experiences together, that makes your work, your relationships, your struggles, everything meaningful. When you lose that thread, when you stop searching for meaning in your life, everything begins to feel empty. But meaning is not something you find. It's something you create. And when you reconnect with what truly matters to you, with your deepest values, your soul's desires, your purpose, you will begin to see life through a new lens. You will start to find meaning in the small things, in the day-to-day, in the challenges and the triumphs. Meaning is the fuel that ignites passion. It's the spark that turns an ordinary day into something extraordinary. And when you reconnect with it, you will find that life is full of possibility. You've spent so long living without purpose, without clarity, without meaning, but it doesn't have to stay this way. You have the power to reclaim your life. The numbness, the disconnection, the apathy, it doesn't have to be your reality. The moment you choose to reconnect with your true self, to live from a place of purpose, to stop conforming to others' expectations, your life will come alive again. This is your time. Take it back. You stand at the edge of a precipice, on the verge of something greater than you can yet see. It's not a place of certainty, of calm, but it is a place of potential. A place where you can finally move beyond the numbness, the disconnection, and step into a life that resonates with the very core of your being. This is where your soul calls you to rise. But it's not easy, is it? Stepping into your own life requires shedding the layers of fear, comfort, and security that you've clung to for so long. You have become accustomed to the safety of staying small, to the predictability of staying stuck. But deep down, you know that this is not enough. This is the point in the journey when you either choose to remain in your comfort zone, where numbness and mediocrity lie, or you break free. And breaking free means facing the unknown, the place where real growth happens. It is the place where you begin to awaken your true power, your true purpose, and reclaim the parts of yourself that have long been dormant. The courage to face the fear you've been afraid for so long, afraid of what might happen if you step off the path you've been on. What if you fail? What if it's too hard? What if you lose everything you've built? These questions haunt you, paralyze you, and keep you from moving forward. But ask yourself this: what is worse, the fear of failure or the regret of never having tried at all? The fear of uncertainty or the certainty that you are not living the life you were meant to live? You've been living in the shadows of your own fear, allowing it to dictate your choices. But the truth is, fear is not your enemy. Fear is a messenger. It's showing you where you need to grow, where you need to step into your power, where you need to break free from the chains of the past. Every time you face your fear, you take back a little more of your power. Every time you move toward what terrifies you, you shed the skin of who you were and step into who you are meant to become. It's time to turn around and face the fear head on. It is time to let go of the illusion of control and embrace the raw, uncomfortable beauty of the unknown. The unknown is where everything you desire lies. It is where your purpose lives. The power of surrendering to the journey. So much of life is spent trying to control everything, trying to manipulate the outcome, trying to bend the world to your will. You think that if you can just control every detail, you'll get it right. But this isn't life. Life isn't about control. It's about flow. There is power in surrendering to the journey, in letting go of the need to force every step, to control every outcome, to have all the answers before you even begin. When you surrender, you open yourself up to something much greater than you can imagine. You allow yourself to be led by a force greater than your limited understanding. But that requires trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the universe. Trust that even if things don't go as planned, you are exactly where you need to be. Trust that you are being guided. Surrender doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to life circumstances. Surrender means aligning yourself with the flow of life, trusting that you are moving exactly where you need to go, even if you don't have the map. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and stepping into the magic of the unknown. When you surrender, you stop fighting, you stop resisting, you stop forcing. And in doing so, you open up space for the universe to step in and guide you. This is when things start falling into place. This is when the path begins to reveal itself, step by step. in ways you could never have planned. The art of taking inspired action. Surrender does not mean passivity. It doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for life to hand you everything you desire. It means moving in alignment with the flow of life and taking inspired action, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of trust and purpose. Inspired action is different from ordinary action. It comes from a place of deep connection to your soul, to your truth. It doesn't come from fear or urgency. It comes from clarity, from alignment with your higher self. When you take inspired action, you move forward with confidence, with purpose, and with a sense of direction. You don't waste time doubting yourself. You don't second guess. You know that the action you're taking is the right one because it is aligned with who you are and where you want to go. Every step you take from here, every decision you make, must come from that place of alignment. Ask yourself, is this step aligned with my truth? Is this action moving me closer to the life I want to create? When you take action that is in harmony with your soul, everything starts to flow. The resistance fades. The confusion clears. You will feel more alive than you ever have before because you are no longer working against the current. You are flowing with it. The discipline to stay the course. The path you are on is not a straight line. It will not always be easy. There will be setbacks. There will be challenges. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when the road ahead feels too long and too steep. But here is the secret. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to go. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's about commitment. It's about showing up for yourself even on the days when you don't feel like it. It's about taking the small steps day after day that lead you to your vision. It's about not letting the setbacks define you, but using them as fuel to keep moving forward. When you stay disciplined, you begin to master your mind. You stop allowing excuses, distractions, and fear to hold you back. Instead, you focus on what matters. You keep your eyes on the prize. Discipline is not something you do only when you feel motivated. Discipline is a practice. It's the muscle you build through consistent action. And when you practice discipline in alignment with your purpose, you begin to see results that come not from luck or chance, but from your own unwavering commitment to your dreams. The power of gratitude in the journey. Gratitude is often overlooked as a tool for transformation, yet it is one of the most powerful forces you have at your disposal. Gratitude shifts your energy. It changes your perspective. It opens you up to abundance, to joy, to connection with the world around you. In the midst of your journey, especially during the difficult moments, gratitude is the practice that will keep you grounded. It is the reminder that even when things aren't going as planned, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude is the anchor that keeps you centered. It keeps you connected to your higher self, to your purpose, to your vision. And when you choose gratitude, you choose to see the blessings in every moment, in every step, in every challenge. Gratitude keeps you moving forward with an open heart, knowing that everything is happening for you, not against you. It's easy to be grateful when things are going well, but true power comes from being grateful even when things aren't perfect, even when the road is tough, even when the future is uncertain. Gratitude turns challenges into opportunities and transforms obstacles into lessons. The moment you step into your power, the moment you stop playing small, the moment you stop doubting yourself, the moment you release the need for approval and step into your own life with full conviction, that is when you reclaim your power. Your power was never lost. It was never taken from you. It was always there, lying dormant, waiting for you to acknowledge it. Your power is in your ability to choose, your ability to act, your ability to decide what kind of life you will create. This is the moment when you realize that you are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a slave to fear, doubt, or the opinions of others. You are the creator of your destiny. And when you step into that power, when you claim it fully, There is nothing that can stand in your way. Now is the time, your time. Step into your greatness. Step into the life you were always meant to live. The world is waiting for you, but more importantly, you are waiting for yourself. This is your moment to rise. This is it, the moment when everything shifts. You felt the weight of uncertainty, the heavy burden of unfulfilled dreams, the numbing exhaustion that comes from living without purpose. You've been standing on the edge, looking into the abyss of your own potential, but something held you back. Fear, doubt, the voice telling you that maybe you're not meant for greatness, maybe this life is all there is. But now you know the truth. You were meant for more. You were never meant to live in the shadows of someone else's expectations, playing small, denying your power. You were meant to rise. The doubts that once plagued you now seem small. The fears that held you in place are no longer strong enough to keep you tethered to a life that wasn't yours to begin with. The moment you decide to step into your truth, to reclaim your power, and to trust the path that has always been waiting for you, that is the moment everything begins to change. No longer will you be the person who settles for less than they deserve, the person who lives in a state of constant numbness, going through the motions without passion or purpose. You will be the person who embraces discomfort and uncertainty, the person who rises in the face of fear, and the person who carves out a life that aligns with their deepest truth. You have the power to decide, the power to choose what your life looks like. You have the power to stop doubting yourself and step into your greatness. You have the power to make today the day that everything changes. So what are you going to do? Are you going to keep hiding in the shadows, or are you going to step into the light? The road may be uncertain, but it is yours to walk. The path will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. And the moment you decide to step forward with purpose, with clarity, with conviction, you will find that every step brings you closer to the life you were always meant to live. Your purpose has always been within you. It is time to bring it to life. The world is waiting for you, and it begins now.